Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, SnowBikeMike, joined alongside my guy, Washburn135. Was I pointing the right way? I don't know, but he's here, and we're ready to catch up on the week. Y'all know the deal. Each and every Wednesday, I want to squad up with my boy, Washburn, and so many of our friends around the globe, and just say, yo, how's your week going? Let's catch up on the week. Let's talk about the cool video game news, the entertainment news, and just how your life's been going. So, Washington, first start off episode number 2, week number 2. How you been, big dog?
I've been good, man.
Yeah?
Playing some games. It's that kind of period of the year where you get something that's like real hot for like 5 minutes, like Halo. And
real
then
hot.
there's just nothing, for like a month. And we're all kind of just waiting for February. And that's kind of the drought we're in right now. So I'm like bouncing around between games. I started up, weirdly enough, Shadow of War.
I saw you playing that in the Discord. I was like, yo,
yeah,
that's dope.
It's on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I started it because I was thinking about that Wonder Woman game that got announced.
Yes.
And it's because it's the same people who are making the Wonder Woman game, so I figured I'd give that a shot. I liked Shadow of Mordor. I never really played Shadow of War.
Okay.
So figured I'd give it a shot.
Shadow of War is the second one, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, I've played them both. The second one, there's a halfway turning point. I don't want to spoil it for you. Have you played it yet?
I know that. No, I mean,
Okay.
I know that
there was a big microtransaction controversy back then.
Really weird
grindy.
with like building your orc armies and doing raids and stuff. But like I'm just at the beginning.
Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation.
It's hard.
The game is good. Let's just start off with the positive.
Yeah.
That game is dope.
Well, I mean,
It's
I know you
fun.
like to talk about square, triangle with those types of games.
That game is a square, triangle ultimate.
It is a square, triangle game.
Yep.
But like the reason I like those games is because the Batman games are like this. It's like it can be square, triangle if that's what you want to get out of it, and you can play it that way, and that's fine.
Yep.
Or you can see how far you can take that system, and if you're able to take it, push it to the limits, there's actually some pretty cool stuff you can do. So
yeah, you can elevate it.
We'll just have to see. I'm literally like level 3. I just started, so I'm gonna give it a fair shake. It needs FPS boost bad.
Oh yes,
on the Series X, it needs it bad.
See, what I like about that square triangle game to me, Washy, is the universe. I think the issue why it took so much of like I'm getting bored of the square triangle games is because we've had decades now of Assassin's Creed, and like I loved those games, and then I got burnt out on these gigantic experiences. One we'll talk about later, the 500-hour video game to beat, right? And so it was like that's a lot of square triangle to me. And like you said, right, you can elevate that and you can make it your own, but it's still like that's the core gameplay. But what I really loved is throughout the years, people found out like, wow, people really like this open world. They like this kind of like, I won't call it basic combat because there's a lot to it, but like very basic combat of like attack, counter, heavy attack, whatever. And then they put it into worlds that I loved, right? And that's why I've loved the Batman. That's why I really love the Shadow of War games, because it's in the Lord of the Rings universe. So I really enjoy that. I dig that you're jumping back into it. I can't wait till you get to that. Like our friend over in the chat right now said, Iron Spider says they patched out the microtransaction BS out of that game. That is correct. But of course, how it started was you hit a halfway point and everything like reverses, and you need certain level units to like get back into it. And you could either grind a bunch or you could buy what off of their store, and that was the big issue that they had. So I loved that game up until that point, but I still love them. I definitely want to jump back. I love that. I didn't know it was not FPS boosted, really.
I mean, unless I'm missing something, but it's got 2 modes. Resolution and quality.
Yeah.
Resolution will just stick it at 4K and take a couple of the settings down, where quality has dynamic resolution, and it will keep the settings maxed. So I'm playing on quality. Resolution's such a weird thing once you get above 1440. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how techie you want to get with that conversation, but like dynamic resolution is a good thing in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
I would rather have settings maxed and have dynamic resolution or DRS, dynamic resolution scaling, where it goes up and down depending what's on the screen.
Yeah.
Than just stick it at 4K and lower the frame rate. You know what I mean?
I can dig
That's
that.
why I like Forza Horizon 5 desperately needs like a third graphics mode, where they really capitalize on DRS and try to hit 60 with higher settings.
Okay.
Because that was the thing with Forza Horizon 5 is when you put it on performance mode, it really does it, and it's noticeable. 60 frames is great, but like the LOD and a lot of the, ambient inclusion or whatever, a lot of the settings are lowered, and that's not what you want to see. I would rather see a DRS kind of system with 60 frames.
I think I'm getting that first taste of it now as you talk about that, and we won't go too techy, but like, me, I've been running that 4K monitor, right, for a little over a year plus now, where my face is right up next to it. I've been really enjoying that, and this is the first time where I've stepped back away from the 4K, and now you guys have me on the 1440p 120 setup, right? And so I haven't had that moment of like, hey, let's put on the biggest and the baddest game. Let's see if Mike can get up really close and see any difference. I haven't done that yet. It's just been a lot of, hey, this is what it looks like when you play that game at 120 frames, which I will say I'm enjoying. I can't see that much of a difference, Washy, compared to 60. I would have to do a lot of jumping back and forth, but
visibly it's harder to tell.
Yeah.
Like a 30 to 60 leap is massive, right?
I felt that.
Massive.
I felt that back in the day.
But you feel a 60 to 144 jump more than you see it. You know what I mean?
I think I get what you're talking about, because I do feel it. Like, when you see me play nowadays, I feel like I'm playing better. Like, maybe I am a step faster than I used to be because of that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And so like when I was playing the last Call of Duty, not Vanguard, but the last one, Black Ops, Call of Duty 17, Black Ops 5, Cold War. Yeah. That has 120 hertz mode, right? And when I was playing that on 120 hertz for a while when it launched, and then I kicked it back down to 60, I could see the difference. But that's only because I played it on 120 for a good chunk of time.
Okay.
It's not something that's immediately as visible as a 30 to 60 leap. That 30 to 60 leap is significant, and it's hard to play anything. But I mean, it's hard. Shadow of War is in 30 on the Series X.
Man, maybe I should jump back and see what that feels like. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels a little bit slow.
I felt it and saw it the most when we went from two things. When I was playing on the Xbox, Call of Duty Warzone, then I went up to the PC when I got the big boy PC, and then like we locked it at 60 instead of just kind of trying its best to be there. And then on top of that, the FOV slider we always bring up that some games have implemented, some games still don't have all the time. That combination really changed a lot of these games for me, which was impressive to see.
FOV will make you feel like you're flying.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Love
in first person.
Yep.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to play something with a FOV that is super high and then go back and play it cranked down.
I don't like that. I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, you feel slow.
Even Minecraft,
even though your character's moving the same speed as everybody else, you feel slow.
Yes, it's how
weird.
It feels. Yeah. All right, so you've been jumping back. I like that you brought up January, right? And we've had a couple of bangers in January over the past couple of years, but it is usually that traditional. We've made it out of the holidays. People are going back to work. It's almost a perfect backlog month. You know what I mean? Of like, hey, here's all those holiday games you missed, or maybe you've kept up with everything and you just need a break for a month. Jump in, but it is sorely missing that big banger, right? Because we look at February, like you said, it seems like everybody either wants to release their game in February or October through December. You know what I mean? No other months are getting any sort of love here like this. You know what I mean? The new thing is February, which
the other
is nice.
months are for announcements.
Yeah. That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like, right?
We're gonna get to March and people are gonna be like, summer's around the corner. You know, it's time for game announcements for 6 months. So I did that, and then I jumped back into Hitman 3.
Yes, I saw.
They're getting the update.
Yeah,
and I wanted to kind of get my feet underneath me again. God, that's a good game. It's so good.
I know you love that one.
It's so fucking good.
I will speak on it during Game of the Year talk, and we'll share our stories. But like, that is the game that I really loved bonding with you over, and bonding with like Blessing and Nick over. And I think it's really fun not only to be in the driver's seat, but also when you and I talk about it, of like the endless opportunities. And when you watch somebody else play it, it's incredible to be like, man, you went this way, I went that way, you thought of this, and like your brain went that way. My brain wasn't thinking that. I love that game because of those options, you know.
Yeah, it's just one of the best games I've played in a very long time.
Let's give a big shout out to my guy Cyberbones in the building, throwing the hammer out. I see you, Cyberbones. Mr. Mandrews is rocking with us right now live on the Twitch chat. It's great to see you. Washy, you've talked about bringing up your backlog. What else happened over this week? Did you watch anything good? Are you playing anything else besides Hitman? Shadow of War? Talk to me.
I started Succession.
Oh, you and Andy Cortez on the Succession train now.
I'm on episode 4.
Okay.
I hate everybody. There's nobody to root for.
Okay.
There's this guy named Greg that's like okay, but he's kind of a doofus, and so like he's like the only one you root for because he doesn't seem tainted by all this family drama and money. You know?
Okay.
Greg's just out there looking for a job.
But, I thought they were billionaires. I thought they had their own jobs.
So Greg's like the fuck up cousin.
Oh,
you know what I mean? He's
okay.
the cousin, and he's smoking weed and gets fired from like his shitty job, and then he's like, I'm gonna go hit up my cousins and just see like what the opportunity is, and he's completely out of his depth.
Okay,
but he's like the one character that I guess you root for. It's a weird show so far, like because they try to play it kind of like a comedy, but it's serious stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm gonna keep going because it's kind of like I hate everybody so much, and I just want to see where this goes, where these people that I hate are gonna end up in 10, 20 episodes. You know,
it's good to know. Me being around the Kind of Funny crew, and now you and Andy jumping on it. There's a lot of Succession talk in my life, and I have tried to jump on that. I do want to continue to open up that HBO app and jump into it.
I think you would hate it.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll give it a try because I'm lucky right now because HBO has Righteous Gemstones back, and I love the Righteous Gemstones because they got Danny McBride and Adam Wright, and I love those two jabronis. But I am pumped up that season 2 is here, and honestly, I didn't know how they would, kind of frame and storyline out season 2. But I'll tell you, they released 2 episodes day 1, which, Washy, here's what I'm going to tell you right now. You and I always talk about the binge versus the weekly. If you're going to hit me with you and I are both binge people. I want to binge it, right? That's the world we're in. I'll tell you on the flip side, if you're going to go weekly, you better give me 1 to 2, maybe 3 episodes. Like, I love that Righteous Gemstones. I clicked on it. Oh, snap. The intro episode, a full hour. The second episode, 36 or whatever minutes. I got 2 episodes week 1. I'm happy as can be now,
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird conversation. I just prefer the binge. I love. So I didn't watch Arcane until it was all out.
Okay,
and I think they released that show in like 3 chunks. They did 3 episodes and then wait, and then 3 episodes and then wait, and then 3 episodes.
Oh, really? Okay.
I watched it after all that, and I watched it all the way through in one weekend. And I think that really helped how I feel about the show. It's one of my favorite shows maybe ever made. And I think the binge helped it. I binged Witcher. I didn't binge Witcher, but I watched Witcher in like the span of 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. Oh my God. I been 8 hours straight of Witcher for me.
Yeah, I love the binge. I mean, I love having everything on my own time. I don't want to have to sit and wait. The Expanse is doing it weekly. It has been doing it weekly for like 3 years now, and it's just tough, man.
The reason why I like The Expanse is because we got to meet up each and every week, even though I would have just watched it.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you get to extend the conversation, and that's why they do it, right? Everybody wants a piece of the mind share, and they want it for a longer period of time. Nobody's talking about The Witcher anymore,
No, but except for that, it was one of the Netflix most watched shows they announced today. ever.
I heard that
So
the
that's a
viewership
positive.
dropped way off from season 1.
I think they announced today. We'll find it somewhere if somebody wants to find it out in the chat. I thought they just announced that it cracked one of the most viewed shows ever now.
That's good. I think they're Henry Cavill has said he wants to do like 7 seasons. I started reading Blood of Elves.
Keep it going, bro.
Because I finished Leviathan Falls. I finished the Expanse books. And so I picked up the Blood of Elves, which is like the first book in the Witcher series. There's like a collection of short stories that takes place before all that. But it's pretty good. Okay. It's different than the show. It's nothing like the show.
I mean, we're living it up right now, right? Expanse final season. I'm telling you, Righteous Gemstones, like I said, loving that's back right here. I did watch the movie Don't Look Up. I know you and I talked about that the previous week, but I watched it during our downtime in between shows. Did watch that. Felt it was.
How did you feel about that?
Just a little too long for me. I enjoyed it.
That's right. What
I liked the big cameos.
It's so
I liked the moments. I liked the message. Right. Like I know everybody was like, "Oh, it's too real," because we feel that. And yes, it is very real. You know. What I mean?
I was talking to Andy about it, and it's like he wrote that in 2018
before the pandemic,
which is just so crazy to think about, dude. Because it is. I mean, it's staring at society in a mirror is what that movie is. It's fucking insane.
Loved the cameos, and I actually liked the Jonah Hill character because he actually reminded me of a character that I literally thought Jonah Hill's character could be in Veep. Like watching Veep and then watching that, like, oh, I could definitely see that. Like, there's no question, you know what I mean? So I liked that. I think, of course, my favorite is Ariana Grande showing up. You get Ariana Grande to make a dumb joke at Leonardo DiCaprio. Hysterical. And then for her to sing that song, it's like, okay, yeah, this is exactly what would happen is right, you know? But I liked that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, tell me,
it was
what
just
you thought?
like, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just like, this is, I found it too long, and I felt like I didn't know really what it wanted to be at times, but it's a fine movie if you want to go burn it 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah. Turn that on Netflix. Just zone out with it. You'll be fine. It's right. I don't think it's bad by any means. Is right. I mean, it's one of Netflix's hot things. I think we live in this world now where I'm pretty sure a lot of us are all subscribed to different, streaming services. But if you only had Netflix, bang, there's a night. You know what I mean? Like Netflix gave you a decent enough movie, if not good movie, where you could just zone out and watch that for a night, You just have so much.
I'd say it's worth a watch.
Worth a watch. I like that. Worth a watch is good.
Yeah, it's one of those movies. It's worth a watch.
Okay. Let's give a big shout out to our friends over there. My guy, Dr. Pews, is in the chat. Pew, pew. T. Sweens is in here. My guy, Gilbert G12 is rocking with us, says that song is right. Free Muffin says Idiocracy is still better. Idiocracy is still a lot of fun. I think this movie is better than Idiocracy, but I like Idiocracy more. You know what I mean? So I think there's a flip side of that. But I do love President Camacho. I will always love President Camacho because he's the best. Okay, Washy, I think that's a pretty good catch-up of the week. It's nice to hear that you're doing good. I got a haircut, so I'm feeling good. You're playing some games. I'm playing some games. Played a little GTFO on stream with Andy and Nick. That is a game that I liked. I thought it was better than what I anticipated it would be, and I would be interested in playing more of that. But nice that opportunity to step out of the comfort zone and give it a try. Let's move on into the news of the week, Washy. And I need to know right now, just as I always ask JD, question number 1 of the week. Washburn, what you think about this? Nade Shot the Team announced the new Hunted Thieves primary jerseys for 2022. And I said to myself, what the fuck? So I need to know. Washburn, what you think of these?
I'd be out here looking like an academic decathlon team, dude. That's what you're looking like.
I didn't know I was doing the spelling bee, okay? I didn't know I was showing up the spelling bee.
When I first saw it, my gut, that was my immediate reaction. Is what the fuck are you doing?
Yep.
The more I look at it, the less I hate it.
Yes. Okay.
I just don't know. You saw Maddock put that other esports team that had the collared jerseys.
Correct. Yeah, they're kind of matching up with that.
Is this what we're doing?
We could very well be going to this.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
Let's have a conversation because I'm wearing my 100 Thieves jersey on right now. Right, I have my 100 Thieves all black jersey on, and it's interesting. I think we've coming off of 2 years of 100 Thieves really doubling down on the traditional esports jersey. Right, light athletic wear. Nice tight neckline here and a lot of ads all over it, right? Yeah. So for me, when I see this, it's new, it's fresh, it's different. Like 1 year, Washy, their first couple of years or their first year in League of Legends, they had a baseball jersey. Like literally it was a baseball pinstripe jersey that they had that was one of their original League of Legends looks. And so for me, when I look at this, I go, ooh, I'm actually kind of interested in it because if you look just dead on the front, no Rocket Mortgage. No advertisement on the chest, which I like, right? So that gets away from like, oh, AT&T is just broadly put on the front of my face right now where people would see that. I don't know how much I can rock that white collar up there, right? Because it does look so preppy. But I also need to know, like, what's the material? Is this going to be heavy?
It looks heavy.
I mean, it's much heavier than what I'm wearing now, which I'm worried about. You know what I mean?
But you want it to be heavy, right?
I want it to be that perfect. I want it to be middle. I don't want it to be heavy. I don't want it to be light. I want it to be middle ground. I feel like I want it to be what you're wearing. Yeah, oh no, you're wearing the nitro rifle like.
This is a super light. Yeah, I mean, and the bonfire sweatshirts are like very light. Like this is an extremely light sweatshirt.
I mean, I would rock that. I want
on the
light.
Opposite end.
Light. I'm talking.
I don't think you want this weight with a collar because I think it would feel cheap.
Okay, that's interesting.
You know what I mean? This is an expensive looking jersey. I want it to feel expensive.
How much you think this jersey's coming in at? Because these right here are like, oh, I was thinking 120 to 160. I mean?
This is a high fashion item.
I mean, they do look high fashion to me.
The issue that I have with it going down from the top, okay?
Top down.
The white collar. If this is what we're doing now, fine. I'm glad that they chose a white collar instead of red. I don't like how the buttons, the white on the button goes all the way down your chest. Okay? And then I really fucking don't like horizontal stripes. Horizontal stripes, big fucking no-no for a thick boy like myself. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So horizontal stripes, just we don't want to do that. We don't want to do horizontal stripes.
They double down on the colorway.
It's not going to do you any favors.
They double down on the best colorway in gaming and in life in general. The black, red, and white. The colorway is the best colorway. Do we agree on that? I mean, this looks good.
Yeah, I mean, you don't beat black and red.
Yeah, you can't beat black. Well, I mean, they could have gone with like red as the primary. You know what I mean? Thankfully, they went with black as the main color here, which I think is the right move. The white brings a very big pop. I don't know about the just... all of a sudden the collar is white. I thought that should have been black, but it does pop. It pops hard.
Yeah, it's fine. If like there are other 100 Thieves drops that you have gotten that I've been mad at you for getting. This is one where I'm indifferent.
Okay, this is up towards the higher side.
Yeah, like if you were to get this, I would look at you and say, okay. You got, I wouldn't throw a fit like the fucking powdered donut keyboard. Or the other things that you buy two of.
Like
but I wouldn't celebrate it. This is just a thing that exists.
Well, this is their main jersey. That's interesting because this is their main esports jersey now.
I don't know if I like that meta.
Do you think they're going to push the kids out on that for Valorant, League of Legends, Call of Duty? Like, do you think they're going to push the people out there?
I think this is the meta now.
Wow. Well, that's what you think about that, Washburn. I needed to know what you thought about the new 100 Thieves jersey because that is what Nadeshot and the team have decided. They go on sale on the 14th, so 2 days from now. I'm very interested to see what the price point is. You say 200. I'm thinking 120 to 160.
Oh, shot, dude. This is a $200 jersey.
We're going to find this. This feels like when they did that Gucci collab. This feels like the next logical step of like, yo, we hooked up with Gucci. how do we elevate this? And they're like, yo, remember when back in prep school or like you had that really fancy high school, they wore this? Yeah. Let's do that, you know?
I like that it's got some taste to it. Mm-hmm. They've finally managed to show some restraint.
Yes,
but
they had a lot of awful graphics.
I don't know how I feel about horizontal stripes, dude.
I will say,
I don't know.
When I look back on all the jerseys, because I think almost every single one of them except maybe one or two, it is tough to be like, where do they go from here with these jerseys? Right? They've come out with the same jersey for the past 2 years with just very little colorway changes. So I think this is the next big step they had to do.
So 100 Thieves is like dominant in this space, right? Absolutely on top of the space. I think esports apparel.
Esports apparel, they are dominant in the space, 100%.
Who is, like, you think Optic's going to run out their guys in some, like, black jerseys or green jerseys with a white collar or black jerseys with a green collar?
No, but I think where we keep an eye on this space with this jersey in particular is Valorant and League of Legends. I could see other teams in the Valorant space. Exactly. Oh, yeah. So, like, in League of Legends, this is a tone setter. There might already be a team doing 100%. This, but 100% League of Legends, when they push this team out there on the stage, you best believe that TSM, Cloud9, like, all of those other teams will follow suit. This will be the new look of games like League of Legends and Valorant to me. I still feel like Call of Duty and Halo HCS are not this. I don't think that's this brand right here. I think if you showed up to this in Raleigh or if you showed up to this at like the Call of Duty World Championship, people might laugh. They might giggle at you. That's not the crowd here. I think League of Legends crowd is where you show this off. People would be like, who's this preppy team? There's no way they wouldn't give them to him. They'd give it to that team.
I mean, yeah, it's I don't hate it.
I don't love it. That's what I don't love it.
I don't love anything about this. Let's make that very clear. I don't love anything about esports apparel and how much it costs.
It's crazy.
But this one, I don't hate it. I think they did a good job. They managed to keep it within the confines of what it's supposed to be. Without putting the stupid fucking topographical pattern on it.
Oh, you know they love that topographical one.
So for that, they deserve some kudos.
I mean, let's be honest with each other. I'm gonna buy two, okay? Let's keep it moving. I'm gonna buy two. Let's go on to the next one. Washy, we talk about big games and time sinks. This last week and into this week was all about Dying Light 2 and kind of the messaging behind that, because it started off a little rocky with the team over at Dying Light 2. They didn't quite know how they wanted to put the message out, but it did evolve over time. It did evolve. It started out with, you need 500 hours to beat this game. And then people were like, what? And they were like, actually, it's 80 hours. And then they were like, actually, no, it's 20 hours. So right now, they do have a tweet. They say, we wanted to clarify our recent communication about the amount of hours required to complete the game. Dying Light 2 Stay Human is designed for players with different gameplay styles and preferences to explore the world how they see fit. So the big old sign up here says 20 hours, time needed to complete the main story. 80 hours, time needed to finish the main story and all the side quests. 500 hours, time needed to max out the game with all the main and side quests, choices and endings, check every place on the map, every dialogue, and finding every collectible. Washburn, how do you feel about that? Because there's a lot that I want to talk about with this, but let's just talk about your initial reaction to the 500 hours and then the kind of downshift of like, let's have a conversation here with that.
Okay. It's hard not to just jump straight to the conversation. I think.
Well, I mean, we're having the conversation.
Of this graphic.
Okay,
let's start on the left side of this graphic. 20 hours is a good time for a main story.
For an open world action RPG, 20 hours you're happy with.
If you golden path
it. Main story.
20 hours golden path, I'm fine with that. 80 hours to golden path and do all the side quests, fine with that too.
That's a nice, chunky, open world game. See, when I look at this game, I think of games like Elder Scrolls Skyrim. I think of big open world games. I think of their last game, right? It's big. It's a lot going on. I want to do it all. I want to see it all. I want to get lost in this world like Assassin's Creed. I like 80 hours on that. I like that. I like that number.
Yeah, that's a good number. 500 hours to explore every fucking pixel.
Yep.
Whatever. Fine.
I like that.
Nope.
I like that.
That's where you get into the conversation of the fucking Twitter war that happens every time the conversation about game length comes up.
They see 500 hours and they panic. Or they see 500 hours and they go, I love that.
Okay.
I mean, you can tell. Washy, this is Mike and Washy.
Okay.
Catch up on the week. Tell me what you want.
People in this scenario. It's a three-sided war. I've written all about this. Medium.com/@Washburn _. Okay. There are 3 people in this fucking furious war about game length. Okay. The first person is game journalist.
Okay.
That's their name. Game journalist.
Game journalist.
Okay. Second person is Twitter gamer.
Twitter gamer.
Third person is average gamer.
Average 9 to 5 normal human being gamer.
Right.
Okay.
Who games are made for.
Yeah. Okay.
Game journalist doesn't want a game that's over 20 hours long because they have to review the game.
Time restraints.
And that's okay. That's okay.
They got to finish it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's okay. They're allowed to feel that way. I get it. Fine. IGN and GameSpot and Kotaku and Polygon, the people who run those websites, the reason that they go and tweet is because they don't want to have to fucking deal with this. They're going to put out a review. Okay. They're going to put out a review for Dying Light 2. And what this means is inevitably there's going to be Twitter gamer who you don't want to be. Okay. In the replies saying, you didn't even play the whole fucking game. How could you fucking review the game? It takes 500 hours to beat it. How could you review this and put a score on it? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's Twitter gamer. And that's going to happen because the length of the game and the need to get a review out when the game launches. Right? Yep. It's inevitable.
I think we all can see it. Yeah, we all understand it.
Okay. Twitter gamer works at Taco Bell. Okay. He can only afford 1 game a month.
Are we talking Twitter gamer or are we talking other
Twitter gamer?
Okay, we're
Twitter
still in the middle. We're still in the middle.
Yeah. He can only afford 1 game a month, which is fine. Lots of people can only afford 1 game a month. Twitter gamer is going to defend that 1 game a month that he can afford. Twitter gamer is going to buy Dying Light 2 because it's got the most bang for his buck. And Dying Light 2 is probably going to be a good game.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I'm excited for it.
So neither Twitter gamer or game journalist are very often willing to step out of their own shoes and try to understand each other, which is fine. Whatever. Okay. Then there's average gamer, which is who games are made for, right? Where the length of a game has no indication on the quality. Okay. This is a stupid conversation because the length of a game makes no difference on the quality of that game at all. It has no bearing on the quality. I love The Witcher 3. It's my favorite game of all time. It's probably a little over 100 hours long to beat, right? And do like the meaningful side quests in the main story. I've beaten the game 3 times. XO1 is my favorite indie of last year. It's 90 minutes.
90 minutes. We had a great time.
Death Stranding is around the 40-hour mark. Final Fantasy VII Remake's around 35 hours. Red Dead Redemption 2, I think, is around 70 hours. Love those games. Some of my favorite games. Okay. Then you jump to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is turned me off because of its length. So there's no rhyme or reason to any of this. The length of a game doesn't make a difference on the quality of the game. If a game feels short, that's because it's either so good that you wanted more or it's content light. Okay? If a game feels long, that's because you're not vibing with the game at the time and it's going to bore you. And that, like Assassin's Creed did for me, or any MMO, or any Persona game, or JRPG, right? I just lose interest because I don't vibe with those games. People need to stop going on Twitter and saying, "Oh, games are too long. Oh, games are too short." It's a stupid conversation to have. Dying Light 2, if you play it for 500 hours and you have 500 fun hours, awesome. If you play it for 20 hours and you love the main story, great. And you never go back to it again, whatever. But I just thought this was a hilarious thing. And it happens every year. And it happens every time Ubisoft releases a game. And it happens every time people talk about game length. People want to act like there's some arbitrary number that needs to be hit. And there's just not.
No, I think you said it so well, Washy. I can't really go off of that because you said it all. That's how I feel, right? And for me, this gets me excited, right? Because I will always I like the bang for my buck. I like getting lost in these giant worlds. And if the game vibes with me, I want more of it, of course. And I think we saw that with Dying Light 1 and the expansion of the following, right? And all the content that it gave you and the hours of fun that people had. This gets me excited because that's what I expected out of this game. I wanted a big open world with a lot of things.
I can't wait for this fucking game.
Yeah, I'm excited
really
about
excited.
This. Yeah, I'm pumped up about it.
Am I going to play it for 500 hours? Fuck no, I'm not going to play it for 500 hours. Unless I love it.
I was going to say, what if you love it?
Unless
maybe
it's
you
just
do,
like,
you know?
I mean, they've been making this game for a long time. It could be really good, you know? But chances are I'll probably play it for somewhere around 20 to 30 hours and move on with my life. Because Horizon Forbidden West comes out 2 weeks after.
Woo! Elden Ring comes out shortly after that, too, yeah? I mean, it will be fun to see when this game does come out. And I mean, the cool one is, like, you look at the 500 hours, right? And they're talking about all the choices, all the endings, checking every place on the map, every dialogue, and finding every collectible, right? That's a lot. How many times are you really playing through it? And if you do love it, it just gives you more incentive to go do it, hear all the dialogue, and keep playing. I love that.
Yeah, that's like saying The Witcher 3. That's like telling me I need to go back in The Witcher 3 and redo stuff, right? Play through the whole game again to try to get a different ending. I never do that. I've played Mass Effect, the trilogy, a dozen times all the way through. I always tell myself I'm going to do something different, and I do the exact same goddamn thing every time because I just love it. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's very few people are going to finish a game and then try to go back and do it the other way. So people do. I'm not one of those people. I don't know anybody who's like that.
Let's give some love out there to our chat right now. Lady Macbeth, AJ Mads, 8-Bit Luis is in the building. C Breezy. Hey, C Breezy, how are you, my friend? It's good to see you. Hello to T Sweens as well. And a buddy that I was watching go get his 69th crown in Fall Guys, Joe Medforce, earlier today on stream. What up, everybody? Welcome in. It's Mike and Washy. Catch up as we move on to the next story. Washy, a big one here that we need to talk about because this is one of those Xbox partnerships that they were really pushing out there. Stalker 2 is going to be delayed till December 8th, 2022. They came out with the decision to postpone the release Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, to December 8th, 2022. These additional 7 months of development are needed to fulfill our vision and achieve the desired state of the game. Stalker 2 is the biggest project in the history of GSC and requires thorough testing and polishing. We're convinced that development should take as long as necessary, especially in the case of such a project. So the Stalker 2 team saying, hey, we're going to go till December. How do you feel about that? Like I said, this was one of those Xbox. We talk about the first party stable. We start to look at the vision of one big game a month, one big game every quarter, right? And that also is going to be carried by a lot of third party partnerships. This was one that they really wanted as a feather in the cap early in this year, getting pushed to the end of the year. Any thoughts besides, oh, it's good, we always love more time for games to get better? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough. I'm never going to pretend to be happy about a delay like a lot of people are. You know, I'm good. I'm glad that they have more time to polish the game.
Yep.
I'm not rah, hoorah. The game's not coming out sooner.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be good. You know, Xbox had a great end to last year. Okay,
Very
let's
strong
talk
ends.
about Xbox for a second,
Talk to me.
because Xbox still is struggling to find an exclusive that I have any interest in, because I have no interest in Stalker 2. Okay, I love Halo, I love Forza. That's a shooter and a racer. Where Stalker is a shooter, right? Where is Xbox's third-person narrative-driven action adventure game, dude? Where is it? I'm still waiting. For me, this news is fine. I probably wasn't gonna play Stalker. Is it on Game Pass?
Yeah, that's gonna be a game.
But
That's
then
the
I'll
Game
try
Pass
it.
partnership.
You know, it looks good. For everything I've seen, looks good. It looks visually good, but it's just like, it's Stalker. I'm not gonna pretend to care a whole lot about this.
Stalker's an interesting one as you look at it, right? This was one of their partnerships, their third-party partnerships that they were excited day and date on Game Pass, right? But then when you look at the, timed exclusivity, I think they looked at it during one of those case filings. They were able to crack open and see some of the, how long is this game going to be exclusive? I think Stalker was one of the lighter exclusive ones that they saw, which was like 3 months. So it does seem like it's going to go multi-plat pretty fast here, but it is something nice where you look at Game Pass, right? We look at Rainbow Six Extraction coming up later this month, and it's like, man, I like when you team up with third parties and drop games on Game Pass because it allows me to save money. My friends get to check it out. I get to check it out. Stalker 2, I'll tell you what, after Metro Exodus, I was not going to play Stalker 2, Washy. I had enough of I'm in Chernobyl, it's dark, it's gray, I'm shooting at mutant animals. I'm good. I've had that experience. I don't think I want Stalker, but because it was on Game Pass, it got me excited because I was like, now I can check it out without having the fear of spending my $60 to $70.
I think this game has the potential to tell a pretty good story.
Yeah.
From everything I've seen, and it could surprise me.
It looked
but
cool.
It does look
cool.
It does look like one of those things that's going to toe the line, because I'm a big scaredy cat. Yeah, and we didn't talk about this when we talked about Dying Light. Dying Light toes that line very well of things things that are too much for me, and things that I can play and get my adrenaline pumping in a good way. This looks like it's going to toe that line pretty well, and it's going to tell a good story. So I don't know. Well, I'll try it. It's on Game Pass.
On Game Pass. December.
It's gonna be. We're gonna see a lot more of this.
Yes, we've seen a lot of it. We're gonna see more of it. It's right. It's only one of the first dominoes.
This is not gonna. Yeah, this is not gonna stop. We're gonna see this for the next probably 3 or 4, 5 months.
And speaking of dominoes to fall, Washy, this is on my team, right? Because it's the Kind of Funny XCast versus the PS I Love You XOXO team, and Paris picked Stalker 2. And so now that game gets pushed back to December. I do need this to come out this year because I want Paris to get points. I want it to be great so we get a bunch of points. So that's a little, nail biting. But I want to take us over to another one with the transition, because another game on our Kind of Funny XCast game picks for the Fantasy Critic was Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. My boy Gary Whitta picked up this game. And I'm not a big Nintendo guy, Washy. So you and I were going to watch this trailer alongside everybody. You're going to tell me what's up with this. Is it hot? Is it not? I need to know. Did Gary make the right pick? That's all I really care about at this point.
This game looks fire,
That's
dude.
what I need to know. Did he make the right pick?
Yeah, hell yeah. This game looks fucking dope.
Another official trailer, and I believe there is a release date on this, so that gets me pumped up, because now I know Gary didn't pick some jabroni game that was come out in 2023. So let's take a look at it.
I can't wait for this.
Has he had other games? I don't know much about Kirby? Besides sucking and blowing in Super Smash Bros.
Dude.
He's had games?
Yeah.
I know this guy had a video game.
Yeah, dude. He's a little pink ball. You run around, you suck stuff up, you steal their powers. It's fucking dope, dude. Kirby's dope.
Is this Little Big Planet type world? Mario?
No,
what is this going to be like?
I don't even know how to classify Kirby, dude.
Okay.
Truly and honestly. He's terrifying. Like, Kirby is terrifying. In some of the later DS games, he's like sucking up galaxies and shit, I think. It's crazy.
Really? Okay.
But this looks really good. I saw this morning and I was like, I'm in. I'm gonna play it.
He's got the tomato? Really? I didn't know he had that tomato.
Yeah, I mean, The maximum tomato.
Yeah, the tomato thing from in Smash Bros. When you eat the tomato and it lowers your health.
And he rides the star around and he yells "Pollo."
Oh, I never knew any of that.
And he's a little pink ball who's very cute but can be terrifying. I love Kirby. Kirby's awesome, and this looks really fun. And I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna probably smile and laugh a bunch while I play it. Will I beat it? Probably not. I don't beat a lot of Nintendo games, but I'm gonna buy it because it's Kirby and it's on the Switch.
I buy a lot of games on Switch. Yeah. I own a lot of games on Switch that I never
The Switch
played,
is the system where you buy games. This is how I operate. I buy a game, I'll play it for 3 hours, and I'll never play it again. That's what the Switch is. And this is going, and I can't wait to do that with this game. Oh. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to buy this. If people think I'm like being mean and sarcastic, I'm not. I really am excited to buy this and play it for 3 hours and probably never play it again because it's Kirby and Kirby's fucking hilarious.
So it comes out on March 25th, 2022. So Gary's getting points for this one. This was like a mid-round pick for Gary, which I like. This is another game like you and I always talk about, and I love all the people in chat. Always, their minds are always blown whenever I bring up Nintendo properties and me, right? Because I've owned a Nintendo N64. It was one of my first consoles ever. But we never played the first-party games. We always played third-party titles. So none of these games have any sort of touchstones to my history in gaming. I never, we had the Wii for Wii Bowling and Mario Strikers, you know what I mean? But, like, we weren't playing Wii and Wii U games. And then when we go into this, I have all of the first-party Nintendo games on my Nintendo Switch. How many times have I actually clicked them to play them? 0 to none. And so this one with co-op, you and I, Washburn, we had fun with Little Big Planet. I could see us getting lost in this for a little bit. I could try it.
The only really Kirby game that I remember putting time into is the N64 one. And I think it was called Crystal Shards.
Okay.
But I mean, I remember enjoying that as a child.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So yeah, this looks good. It looks better than it has any right to, and it could be, one of those sleeper hits.
So my
if
good
people
friends,
are into it.
Joe Medforce and T Money in the chat say, Mike, did you know that Sakurai created Kirby? The man who created Super Smash Bros. Didn't know that. Didn't know that at all. Didn't know that at all. Now, the more you know.
He's the worst character in the game. I wonder if that's because Sakurai
that's not true.
hates him
I'm really
so much,
good at him.
Maybe Sakurai has this like deep hatred for Kirby,
he's like
and that's
my
why
favorite,
he's so bad.
He's the only one I've unlocked.
Best, dude. Kirby's so cool, and there's like a Meta Knight flash in this trailer too.
Yes, right at the end. There's right.
So I mean, where's King Dedede, dude? That's all that matters. Like, are they gonna have the big penguin in his fucking robe and his mallet, dude?
The penguin man.
That's what I'm trying to see. Where's King Dedede, dude?
Okay.
I'm trying to see King Dedede.
Well, that one is coming out in March. I had to bring it up because it's a new hot, fresh trailer, and the cool part, of course, is that you can now bet on my good friend Gary Whitta getting some points. Washburn,
that's going to be a fun one.
You think that will review well, though?
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to get some points for that?
It's going to probably review somewhere between 70 and 90.
Okay. 70 and 90? Okay, thank you.
You know what I mean?
That.
Yeah.
I was hoping for more 80s. 80s to 90s is my window, but okay, I'll take the 70s to 90s. Washy, I want to show you this one because I love first-person shooters. I love that space and the new kind of games that we see. And over here, our guy Eddie from GameSpot brought up a really cool one. This new 60-player shooter has hoverboards and a robot moose. And so this is called Leap, Washburn. Canadian developer Blue Isle Studios has announced its next project, and it's an intriguing looking first-person shooter called Leap that supports 60-player battles. And so I just was like, yo, show me the trailer, Eddie. Let's see what's up. So we're going to run this trailer, and we're going to talk about this. And this game, Washburn, gives me throwback vibes to Tribes. That's a game that me and Gary Whitta bonded over a long time ago, and that's a fun PC game with a lot of people running around that I loved back in the day.
They are usually seen causing destruction everywhere they go.
Yeah, this looks like Hyperscape to me.
Oh, Hyperscape, Washy. Interesting. See, I didn't think Hyperscape because it's not in the city itself. there's some city shots, but like I like this outdoor foresty vibe that they were showing off here.
Just this once,
It's just gonna
this
be
mercenary appears to have connected with nature.
a game that people play for. Here's the thing with these games: they
Or
live and
not.
die by the popularity on Twitch.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And so this game could come out and be Splitgate and have a really hot month or two, or it could come out and be Hyperscape and have a hot 10 minutes and die. Most games are Hyperscape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very tough to break into the mold and capture everybody's
impossible.
attention. It's very tough.
Yeah, this looks good. I signed up for the beta.
Oh, did you? Nice.
So we'll see if I get into that. I'm excited to try it. But yeah, all the verticality, the jumping around, the floating, the movement, everything being up and down, the kind of flashy nature of everything. The way that the title fades in that way, it looks like Hyperscape. Just it reminds me so much of Hyperscape, and it probably will, unfortunately, suffer the same fate.
Yeah, that it will be an interesting one because we always have those conversations of like, I think everybody gets super wowed by these big ultimate battle games, right? Everybody loves the Battlefield, and you know, we'll talk about the other Battlefield a different day, but like they love these like, oh man, this is what next gen is gonna be. This is what the future is gonna be. 120 people running at each other. But then they're like, oh man, I don't feel like I have a part in the battle and I'm just kind of running into a wall here. And they go back to ones where they really have an impact. For me, this is always the game that I'm looking for. I am looking for the massive battles. I'm looking to get weird.
This
That's
isn't
what I
a
want.
battle royale.
Exactly. No, this is not. I bet you this is going to be
Okay.
teams. 2 teams coming at each other.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a big fan of like getting back to arena gameplay, and I use that term very loosely. What I mean by it is like gameplay where you respawn.
Yes.
You know, battle royales are great, but like I'm just it sucks when you die, and so I just prefer games that allow you to respawn.
See,
So this could be better than Hyperscape for me, if that's the case. So
I'm looking for some massive capture the flag. I'm looking for domination here. I'm looking for some cool conquest like I like in Battlefield.
Weird.
I can't wait to see this, and I actually this is a big circle for me. I'm keeping an eye out on this one because it gives me the Tribes vibes that I love with Tribes. The other game I thought of, Washburn, I started laughing about games back in the day, and I think about Shadowrun, you and I, and how we played Shadowrun recently thanks to backwards compatibility. And these games like that get me excited and think about those kind of moments that I had back as a kid. And I hope to see them flourish again. Because this game gives me that vibe. Shadowrun
is like a game that was so far ahead of its time. Too far ahead of its time. That's why it didn't survive. If Shadowrun came out, if a 2022 version of Shadowrun came out now, it would dominate.
It's a great game.
It would dominate.
Game.
We should absolutely dominate.
Shout out to my good friend Maka in the building. Maka 91 Productions out there. Yo, what's going on, my guy? Happy New Year. I hope you're living well. I hope you're doing well. I hope all the achievements are great for you. Of course, if you love achievements, if you're looking for some awesome guides to get dope achievements or just great games, you want to hang out with an awesome person, go check out my guy Maka. One of my good friends. I really enjoy that guy a lot. I love all of his content. I just love him in general. So go check out my good homie over there. He's a pretty great guy. And also take a look at this Leap game. Like Washburn, you can sign up for the beta, hopefully get accepted in, and you can jump into it. Kind of cool, Washy. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
Let's touch on another one, Washy. The hashtag Save Red Dead Online.
Oh,
now
God.
The incredible Rebecca Valentine has a great write-up here on IGN, and it's funny that we're circling back to this again. And here's the big one that I take away from this. Grand Theft Auto Online, 9 years old.
How
Washburn.
long is this piece?
It's chunky. It's not like super long, but it's a great piece from Rebecca that's detailing a lot here that you should all read. But the one I took away, 9 years on GTA Online, 3 years for Red Dead Online. I didn't know it was that young, but also I always tell you, Washburn, I just knew Red Dead Online would not pop as hard as GTA Online. I know it has a great dedicated audience, and it's a very cool thing, but you just when you put the two side by side, you just knew GTA would pop harder than that, always and forever in my mind. I think that's where we get into this.
It's so unfortunate because it's, I almost feel like this tweet that you see in Reb's article right here.
This first one?
This first one.
Red
it's
Dead
so
Redemption
pretty.
2 is too beautiful to abandon.
It's so pretty, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I played this recently. I think I played it like 2 nights ago. I jumped in.
Yeah.
God, dude, it's just such a pretty game. Yeah, because I saw this hashtag popping off and I wanted to go back. Man, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a looker. It's just such a vibe, dude. I love it. I just love that game so much, and it sucks. The online sucks. Like, let's be clear about that. It's not good. I did a bounty mission, and you know how when you log into GTA, sometimes you're rewarded with, like, if you haven't played it in a long time, you'll log in and you get like $400,000-$500,000. Red Dead has decided to just not do that with their currency. Because I logged in and I had 1 gold, which is nothing. And you need like 15 to start the moonshine stuff. And so what am I supposed to do? Just drop a 20 piece? I'll do it. Rockstar knows I'll do it.
They want you to drop that 20 piece, bro. If we're
trying to play Red Dead, I would love, dude. I think if a lot of us got into this, we could have some fun with it, but it probably only for a weekend, and that's the issue with it.
Yeah,
I think once you play this for a weekend and you do the moonshine stuff, you've kind of seen everything there is to see. There's like some other crimes and opportunities or whatever they're going to call them in the game, but that's the issue. The game, it's kind of a weird situation, you know. I don't think Rockstar ever planned to support it the way they support GTA.
You think so?
You know?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, of like where they were then and then where they are now. I mean, do you think it's just slowly like, let's just keep this thing afloat and then get out of here when it's game time? You know what I mean?
I mean, what are you going to do? Red Dead, GTA, everything in GTA Online fits the nature of that game. It's silly, right? GTA's always been like that. Red Dead's not like that.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is a very serious take on a story that is very, you know, it's all serious stuff. You know what I mean? It's fiction, but it's serious stuff. And it's kind of a look back at how things were in that time period, and it's all tries to be realistic, you know. So you're not going to see flying cars. You're not going to see horses that can levitate into the skies. It's just not going to happen. Plus the game, and that is what it is. I'm fine with all that, but it does suck. It sucks that the game's not supported. It's gorgeous. Like, just go into that game every once in a while and ride around and kick on cinematic mode and just ride on your horse. It's ridiculous. That game is insane.
Well,
visually.
Washy, hashtag save Red Dead Online. It's still a thing. It's going on. 3 years old. Let's see where it goes from here. It gets another year, another 5 years. When does it drop off? What's the deal? But I know I only have you for a limited more time, and I do want to talk about our game of the years. Of course, it is a new year. It's January 12th. It's time to get it out there, get it over with. And as I said on XCast this week, we'll talk about our game of the years this year. We'll talk about the Game Pass gems of the year, and of course, some of our favorite Xbox games, more specifically, this week on the XCast. So everybody out there listening and watching, please tune into that. And of course, if you want to know what the Kind of Funny Games cast, all of Kind of Funny Games game of the year is, tune in tomorrow, because you're going to get a brand new Games Cast episode this week, starting off tomorrow, which is the official Kind of Funny Games game of the year. You have all of your favorite Games Cast members alongside myself, Paris, and Janet Garcia. So you have really everybody from the Kind of Funny Games team that could make it does get a vote. Barrett's included on that one as well, since he directs and produces all of the game's content. And so you get to really have a great vote here. A lot of different people bringing in their favorite games to make a really fun top 10 list. So please check that out. But since we're getting it out, you know what I mean, we're having fun with it, Washy, that gives you and I a chance to talk about our favorite games of the year. It doesn't have to be in any particular order, Washy, if you don't got a top 10. But I thought, you know what? Since we have a little bit of time before you got to go, we could go through a couple of our favorite games. What do you think?
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you want to put numbers next to them? How do you feel? What do you got?
Really.
What do you got over there? You know what I mean? What you got over there?
I feel like most people know my game of the year is Hitman 3.
Hitman 3?
I've been pretty vocal about that for over a year now. Because it came out in January and just nothing beat it, dude. It's crazy for me, you know. I mean, I'm sure other people have other feelings, but like Hitman 3 came out in January last year and just nothing topped that for me.
They did a really good job.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank was close.
Ratchet and Clank was very special.
But man, Hitman 3 is just so fucking good, dude. Because let's back up. I never played Hitman before.
You didn't. I remember that.
And so when I got into Hitman 3, I had no idea what to expect. I knew people kept saying they're really good. But God, dude, it's just such a fun fucking video game about trying to outsmart the video game. And that's what I love about it. They just put you in this giant map, a selection of big maps, and just tell you to try to beat the game, you know, outsmart the simulation. And I fell in love with that, dude. It's so fun. It's so fun to see how weird and creative and silly you can get. And so I went back because they're going to probably add 2 more maps. I would assume maybe 2 more maps to Hitman 3. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that because when those drop, ooh, buddy.
Well, you talked about it before, right?
That's a time sink.
It was your first time, which I know you and I loved that, getting to bond and talk about that. But on top of that, you really loved the content, right? Because you had Hitman 1 and 2 bundled into all of that. They brought those maps over, gave you an opportunity to play more. And then on top of that, you and we made a mission together. That user-created content was also something special that I think we can talk about even with Forza, right? Of like, how that just elevates and gives players more. We talk about Forge with Halo and how much everybody loves that. Battlefield 2042 has their own little thing going on where it's like you can have so much in a game and then it can just be elevated and go beyond the stratosphere with user-created content within the bounds of that. And I think they did a pretty good job with that, you know, seeing what people made. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, the way that it works is perfect. You know what I mean? You to make a contract, you just play a level in essentially what is free play mode. Yeah. And then whatever you do gets added to that contract. And that in itself is a fucking blast. Like just going into a map with no objective and seeing like, I'm going to try to do the craziest fucking thing that I can possibly do. I'm going to try to make this family all sit in front of a camera and then throw down 2 propane tanks and then have them leak a little bit and then take my screwdriver and unplug the thing. And then when I flash the camera, it explodes and they all die. You know what I mean? And that's the contract. Yeah. And so and that gets saved. And once people see that contract, it's like eliminate these 5 people. How do they all die? Oh, all by explosion. It's like, what? You know what I mean? It's so goofy and fun and silly and just a blast to play. And every single level's good.
Yeah, that rave. That's the thing. When we're in that rave, you and I, getting behind the DJ set.
The level design is unbelievable, dude. Because that level starts. That level starts on like a road by an abandoned gas station. Yeah. And you go through this like forest clearing and there's this warehouse. And you're like, what the fuck's going on here? And then you fucking eventually are taking disguises and going deeper into this club until you're the DJ and you're electrocuting dudes with the light rig. It's fucking insane. It's so good. It's so good, dude. Hitman 3 is a perfect fucking video game. And the fact that you can import the Hitman 1 and 2 levels is not talked about enough because that's dope. And so for me, who's never played Hitman 1 or 2, being able to do that and just bring them all into one client is awesome because all the levels are good. Even in Hitman 1, it's like, what the fuck? Where was I when this game came out, dude? What happened? I like, it's one of my favorite video game trilogies of the past decade, dude. It is that fucking good. I think.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I know.
I just fell in love with it, dude. I like it was that game. You ever have a game where it's like it's all you can think about?
Yeah, Metal Gear
Like
Solid.
literally, it's like you go to work and you're just like, I just want to go home and try this thing in this game.
Yep,
That's what Hitman was.
I know. And they give you those options. They give you that opportunity to try all that, right? That's the coolest part. Trial and error, doing whatever you want, the freedom. I'm glad that you like that. And yes, Gelgar says it in the chat. Hitman 3 reveal, Hitman 3 year 2 reveal, I believe is tomorrow. It's very early in the morning. It's like
so
6 a.m. or
excited.
7 a.m. So if you want to see that, or of course, check out all the news, you can really enjoy that. But I believe that reveal is tomorrow. So you can keep an eye out on that one, Washy. Hit me with another one of your favorites this year since we got a little bit of time.
I mean, Ratchet and Clank, what is there to say? You know what I mean? We all know.
I love it so much.
Beautiful. It's
beautiful,
just
Washy.
the visual feast is how I would describe it. It's
The characters.
overwhelming. It's overwhelming in a good way, in like all the best ways.
That
you know what I
sheep
mean?
at the bar. That sheep at the bar.
Unbelievable. The whole
that
bar
sheep.
itself. The first time you step into that bar, it's like, wow, dude. It really looks like this, doesn't it? And then you go into photo mode and just like get really close to every character and they're in perfect detail. It's fucking insane visually what that game's doing.
I like the combat. I just love that it feels like it's ripped out of a full-on blockbuster movie. It just looks that good. You could put it up on the big screen to me. I love that it's the family-friendly console mascot platformer, right? They've dialed that in over on the Sony side. It's there. It's perfect. And it's fun for all ages. I could give that to a small child. I could have my mom play it. I could play it. And we're all going to smile and be wowed by different things within that game and just say, man,
that's the
it's
thing.
a good freaking video game.
I mean, that's what I wrote down about it too, is like just playing it, I was just smiling so much. And that's what you want to do. You know what I mean? You can't really give any more positive praise to any sort of media product, you know, than I was smiling a lot while I consumed this.
Yeah.
That means it's really fucking good. And that's what Ratchet and Clank was. It's so good.
Hit me with another.
So I platinumed it. And I don't platinum games.
Really?
The only 4 games I've platinumed are the 3 Insomniac games, the Spider-Mans, and Ratchet, Rift Apart. And then I went and platinumed Ghost of Tsushima because I love that fucking game. Another
that was a fun
one.
time with Iggy Island this year.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. The director's cuts.
Okay.
The Ghost of Tsushima director's cut. Never played. I played Ghost when it first came out. I didn't finish it. When the director's cut came out, I finished it. Holy fuck, that's a good game. That's a really good video game. Death Stranding. Director's cut. I beat Death Stranding in 2019, but I was excited to go back, so that was fun. Intergrade. I'm playing through that kind of piece by piece right now, actually. Again, because all of those 3 games are good.
Yes.
And PlayStation, man. They're just. I know I'm like. Sometimes come off as a rah Xbox guy, and I like to dunk on the Sony people because they're mean a lot. But like, God, those exclusives are so fucking good, dude, and they're just so visually good. You know, like I was going through my photo reel on the PlayStation the other day and looking at some screenshots. I was like, that game really looked like that, huh? It really did. Yeah, it does. It's crazy. They all do.
You know what? Another game I want to talk about that looked like that? Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's where I was going next.
Okay, good. Let's hit a pause button on that because that was a very
Have you tried
fun
it with
time.
the ray tracing stuff yet?
No, I haven't jumped back to it. Do they got that enabled
you should check
now?
It out.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah.
Oh, I loved that. Every moment was like, man, this feels like Guardians of the Galaxy, from the story to the characters. I liked the voice acting. I know it's always tough for everybody when you come hard off of all the movies that are so beloved, right? Then you jump in and it's not that person's voice. It's not that person. It's always like, oh, what's happening? But for me, I banded with all this. I loved every moment, and I loved that
it was one of my favorite games this year. It was it was so good that for a second I thought it might be my game of the year. Like when I got to the end, there's a scene between Peter and another character near the end of the game, and it's essentially Guardians of the Galaxy is a game about like overcoming loss, and it's told in this like super powerful way. With every single character getting their moment to shine and kind of examine how different people from different backgrounds overcome loss. And the ending is stuck so well, dude. So well. And then it goes on for a little too long, but like that felt so appropriate for the game because it's Guardians. You know what I mean? They're always going to do one more stupid thing, right?
Soundtrack.
And so
banging.
I'm banger.
Banging.
There's a llama that shakes his butt to Never Gonna Give You Up.
Oh,
so
it's
it's
so
like,
good, Washy.
yeah, of course I'm gonna fucking love it, dude. It's really good. It's like a must play in my opinion, and it does have the best narrative in video games this year, bar none. And maybe in years. I think it's fucking phenomenal.
Hit me with another one. You got.
I mean, really, the other two that come to mind are Deathloop and Halo and Forza, or I guess 3. Deathloop.
Good.
Yeah, very good. Arcane is magic. They've got some kind of
team
weird
over there is pretty good, huh? They got two teams that create
going on over there. I don't get it.
Really good games. Those two teams.
That game. If you wrote that game down on paper, everybody would look at you and smack you in the face and say, "We're never gonna make this. This is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. This will never work." And it does. It just does. Somehow, Arcane is able to make that fucking thing work, and it works really well.
Yeah.
So like outside of like a couple quest structure things that were confusing at the time, like it's hard to nitpick that game. It's really good.
Yeah.
Halo we've talked about ad nauseum.
I give it a lot of passes, but man, do I love it so much. There's like there's a lot of passes I give it, and I go hard on it because I love it. And like you're gonna say, it's just so good, Washy. It's so good. That's why. So good.
It's just the gameplay's so solid, and I like the story.
I love the story.
I like the story.
A lot of people aren't pleased with the story. I'm pleased with it.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a story. We haven't seen Chief in a long time, and this is a story about Chief and his inability to stop trying to win everything because that's just who he is, and him having to deal with guilt on top of that is an interesting take, and I liked it. I liked the weapon. I thought the pilot was annoying at times, but like a good way to sort of ground everything and show a character in the Halo universe that has a flaw, which we don't see. That's never really happened before. Everybody in the Halo, in the games at least, has been kind of clean cut, perfect. You know, you're gonna root for this guy, but it was cool to have a human character be a human. You know, I thought it was awesome. And I thought the fidelity in the fidelity in the cutscenes is really good.
Oh,
it's not Sony first party good, but it's really fucking good.
Really good.
And then Forza.
Man.
And then there's Forza.
That team over at Playground makes me want to play racing games for some reason. I haven't loved racing since.
I mean, it's just nonstop dopamine drip, dude. Yeah. That game is just like hooking yourself up to an IV, and it's just dopamine getting injected into your system, dude. That's what Forza is. Because you're always winning something. It's fun to play. It makes me really excited for Fable, to be honest, because they made that game. Are you familiar with Fable? Like really familiar with Fable?
No, not like that. I mean, I've played them all, but no, I don't know it like that anymore.
The thing that makes Fable so good for so many people is that everything you do rewards you in some small way.
Okay.
And those little things just stack and stack and stack and stack on top of each other. And you kill a guy and little blue orbs fly out and you collect them. You shoot him and little yellow ones come out and you get better at shooting. And that's what Forza Horizon is. And so that tells me when they make this Fable game, they're going to understand how the progression's supposed to work and how that constant just dopamine drip is supposed to work and make the game fun.
I also want to give a big shout out really quick. One thing we might not give enough love to is every single one of these games coming out on both console and PC and also on the cloud. Like I could play Halo day one on the cloud.
You shouldn't.
Hey, but you could. You have the opportunity to. I could play Forza Horizon on the cloud. I could play Psychonauts 2 on the cloud. I played a lot of Forza Horizon on my phone in bed because I had the capabilities to do it. It was fun. It was awesome. I loved it. And I think that's one thing is like, when I look at all these, it's like, man, I really loved that they doubled down on this and made all that work. And like, I'm impressed that day one, these things were on. It wasn't 6 months. It wasn't 3 months. Like, hey, day one, there you go. Have fun with it. There you go. Any way you want to play. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I want Xbox to have a good year. You know what I mean? Because it's like you go down your game of the year list. And again, I come off as harsh towards Sony ponies to sort of push back against the narrative. You know what I mean? Because it's fun. Mm-hmm. It's fun to make people mad because they're mean. A lot of Sony people are just mean. and so you like to just look at them and say, oh, your fucking Returnal sucks. And then they just get all so mad at you. You know what I mean? But then they turn around and they're like, oh, Xbox has no games. And it's like, yeah, Xbox has some good games this year. But it's like, I want Xbox to have their God of War moment, and they still haven't had it. They you know what I mean? They've got to have it this generation.
They have
It's not going to be Starfield. It's not going to be. It's got to be Fable, right?
Fable
or unless Hellblade is 2. Just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean,
it looks pretty wild.
Just, they got to have their God of War moment, dude. And I'm hoping that this year that we get something that shows me that they can do it, because Sony just continues to do it 4 times a year. Mm-hmm. And Xbox just. I love Halo. I play on my Xbox significantly more than my PlayStation 5 because the PlayStation 5 is an exclusives machine. Mm-hmm. But those exclusives just outshine, dude. They're incredible.
They're great
so
games.
I want Xbox to show me. Maybe Starfield will be it. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be, but I'm excited.
I want to give a couple of quick honorable mentions before we get out of here, Washy, because I know your time with me is short. Far Cry 6 is out there that I really enjoyed. Pokemon Unite. Pokemon Unite still brings a smile to my face.
Let's talk about Far Cry 6.
You want to talk about Far Cry? Okay, let's talk about it. Tell me about it.
Because I fucking like that game.
I like that game a lot, Washy. I think it was the most fun I've had in Far Cry since Far Cry 3, and I want to give that team a lot of credit because that's a game that fell off for me a long time ago, and I'm happy to be back.
I think people were a little too hard on Far Cry 6.
You think so?
Yes. Because that's a fun video game. It's Far Cry, dude. Everybody knows what the fuck they're doing. It's Far Cry. Mm-hmm. They've been the same since Far Cry 3, but this is a good Far Cry. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's good. You go in, you collect your scraps, you run around, you get your metal, and you build up your camps, and you go fishing and get materials and fucking upgrade your armor. And the story's straightforward, and that's what I loved about this Far Cry, is that there was none of the Troy Baker fucking Joseph Seed psychedelic nonsense, Voss stuff from 3, 4, and 5 that just lost me.
Yeah.
This is just, Giancarlo Esposito is a bad fucking dude and you're going to take his ass out. And that's the story.
Yeah.
And I was okay with that. Run around this big ass open island, build up your camps, do whatever. Is it long? Yes, it's long. It's too long. For what it is, but I had fun with Far Cry 6. I think it doesn't get enough love, and I think people are too hard on it.
I enjoyed it a lot. I liked the co-op. I did like the missions that you and I did that weren't the co-op itself,
dude.
Right? That alternate stuff was really cool, right?
Episode
1 was Jurassic Park. Like, that was cool. And so, I really enjoyed, and I liked that gameplay, too. Like, it was puzzle solving. Remember, we couldn't have the reactor in the sun for too long, so you had to get it to the water or stand in the shade and fight while at the same time. Like, that was a cool time. So, Far Cry 6 is definitely a game that I'll look back on. Pokemon Unite, again, I smile just thinking about it. That's a game that came into the MOBA space, and the MOBA space is dominated by a lot of games, right? A lot of games that either are great or you never play again. And Pokemon Unite made it fun for beginners and veterans. I loved what they did, especially on the Switch too, right? So shout out to Pokemon Unite. Really enjoyed that. Another one, Surgeon Simulator 2, Washy. I have not laughed that much in the game in a long time. I loved playing it with Nick. I think that is one of the ultimate co-op party games that you could play with your friends of like 4 people running around these crazy operating rooms, solving puzzles, trying to save their patients, and just laughing. Had a great time. Another one that you and we laughed at, Chivalry 2.
Yeah.
Chopping people's limbs off and running into a battle, screaming with other people is a blast. That game deserves to have people talk about it.
What did we play this year that was like that? Was it Mordau?
Mordau. Yeah, we played Mordau.
Mordau's a little technical, you know, for lack of a better term. You got to know what you're doing. Chivalry 2, I felt like, was a great take on that genre that allowed almost anyone to pick it up with a controller and learn it.
Yeah.
The basics. I never felt overwhelmed playing Chivalry 2, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed playing those types of games. And so, yes, that's a good one.
I loved it, Washy. I had a blast with that one. Just my final 3, I'll go down the list really quick. Artful Escape, I enjoyed. I thought the controls were too basic with the gameplay, but it got me into folk music. I think it had some far out cool moments, right? I did like the message and the story. Then Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. I don't know if you can classify that as a new game because it's a new piece, but it's also just a return.
That game fucks.
That was the first time I've played a Mario game, and I loved it. I have memories I'll never forget. That's a great time, Washy. And then finally was Resident Evil 8, Washburn. I think it had a lot of ups. It had a lot of downs that I didn't like, but it, in my mind, has one of the best horror set pieces I've ever seen in the video game interactive medium, and that is the dollhouse, right?
It's too scary for me.
Lady Demetrice and the castle were a ton of fun. Leading up to that was great, right? Lady Demetrice, I don't know what her name is anymore. It's been so long, and everybody was saying it 2 different ways. But then the dollhouse was one of the best pieces I've ever played in horror and video games ever. And then after that, I was like, you know what? None of this is as good. None of this is as good as what that just was. And that was a major high, and we are crashing down, and I am not pleased with that. So,
how many times did that boy's hands fall off in that game, dude?
Well, I think twice, maybe once or twice. I think guaranteed once. I don't know if he lost it again. They have this move where you lose your hand, and then you take it, then you shove it back on, and it's just on there, Watchy, okay? It doesn't re-fall off. It's just on there.
Yeah.
But, I want to give a shout-out to Resident Evil 8. It wasn't my favorite out of all the series, but it did have one of the best horror set pieces ever in video games, and people should check that out because it is truly something special. But Washy, I can't keep you here all night. I wish we could keep going, but we got to get out of here. So Washburn, that was another week of catching up with Washburn. What did you think? Did you have fun?
Yeah, it's fun.
Good. I think everybody on the chat enjoyed hanging out with you and I, getting to talk about games that we loved this year, getting to talk about Kirby. You know, and who the hell is Kirby? What is Kirby? I don't know. We'll figure it out together in March.
I think he is a Kirby. You know? I think Kirby is. I don't know what you classify Kirby as.
All right. Well, let me know in the comments down below if you're watching over on YouTube what the heck Kirby is, and we'll talk to you next week over on the YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, we're gonna keep going. So I'll see you in a little bit.